What's up everybody, Dustin Cooper here, and today we're going to learn to create this 3D text in a matter of minutes using only Illustrator and Photoshop. Welcome to the channel. My goal is to help teach you guys design and teach you some new tips and tricks along the way and all grow together. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because it'll go a long way in helping ensure that content and videos keep coming to you week after week. All right, let's get into this 3D text tutorial. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to Photoshop first. We're gonna open a new document and we're gonna make it 1080 pixels by 1350, 72 resolution, RGB color, and hit create. And then we'll go over to Illustrator and we'll do the same thing. We'll open a new document at 1080 by 1350, RGB, 72 resolution, hit create. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna type out our text, and just making the font a little bit bigger so I can see. I'm going to use the word love, and we're going to stack it on top of each other and go over and center your text, and then we're going to choose a font. I'm going to use the font Manicotti regular. So this font is free on Adobe Typekit. So if you have the Adobe suite, you should be able to go to Adobe Typekit and download it. So this is called Manicotti. All right, so we got our word typed out, love, centered, stacked on top of each other. And now I want to make the text outline. So I'll go to Object, Expand. And then I'm going to take the text that's black. I'm going to change it to white because in a second you'll see why. So you still see the outline. And I'm changing it to white because once we add these 3D effects and you're adjusting it, you're gonna see that if it's all black, you won't be able to see the shadows. So white helps. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna ungroup these letters. We'll do one at a time. So we'll go up to we'll select the L, go up to Effect, go Extrude and Bevel. We'll change the depth. Let's go about 2.9167. Looks good. And then we're gonna change the axis. How about we'll tilt it up like this. And then mess with our rotation. I think that looks good. All right, so where I stopped on that is the x-axis is 7, the y-axis is -27, and z-axis is -8.1. Now what we're gonna do is go over to lighting, and we're gonna mess with the lighting. So we'll keep it at standard, mess with our intensity. I'm gonna bring the intensity up to like 127, that looks good. And then we're gonna bring this ambient light intensity down. You want it to almost be black and white. So like that. And now we're going to mess with the height of the light and the rotation. I'm just trying things out. When I like the way it looks, I'll stop. All right. Okay. All right. I think that looks good. There's a little bit of shadow right here, which looks nice. A little bit of shadow underneath, shadow on the side. So I'm gonna leave that. And now we're gonna go to our O, click on our letter O. You might not be able to see it, so just kind of click around. Now I see the outline. So now I'm going to go, same thing, Effect, apply, extrude, and bevel. We're gonna go, oh, I'm on lighting. I'm gonna hit object, mess with our depth. I'm trying to make it all the same. So I'm gonna go back over to L and the letter L and make sure, okay, so our depth is 2.9167. So now that I'm gonna go on my letter O and make sure that that's the same, 2.967. 2.967. I'm just gonna type that in. And then we're going to, with this one, we're gonna change the axis. Each letter is gonna be different. So that's gonna give us the look that we're going for. So I'm gonna rotate this. Okay. All right, I think that looks good. Now we're gonna go to our lighting, standard, bring our intensity up on the first level, bring our ambient lighting intensity down so there's contrast, and then we will mess with the height and the rotation. Okay, that looks good. So I got my rotation all the way to 180. And now I'm gonna mess with my height a little bit. I like that because that has like kind of a shadow right there and right there. All right, so I wanna move this. I wanna move the L in front of the O. So I'm gonna select the L. I'm gonna right click, which is on a Mac, control, click. And I'm gonna go arrange, bring to front, because I want my L in front of my O. So there we go. And now we're gonna work on the V, which is underneath the L. Same thing, apply, extrude, and bevel. Make sure you select the object, and then go 2.964. And then we're gonna go with this one. Let's turn it totally on its side here. Let's go a little bit more. There we go. And now we're gonna mess with our lighting. Bring that up, bring this one down. All right, rotation. Kind of like that. That looks good. All right. So yeah, it's however you like. I think that looks good. Mess with the height a little bit. All right, I like that. So we'll leave that one, and then same thing. I want this V to go in front of the L even. So the L is in front of the O. Let's bring the V in front of all of it. So right click, arrange, bring to the front. Just move this around a little bit. All right, last letter. Click on our E. Now we'll select object, 2.964, 2.964. And now with this one, let's do that kind of like that. Okay. Now we'll go with our lighting, intensity up, ambient lighting down. And then we're gonna mess with our rotation again once more. All right. All right. All right. So yeah, I'm bringing this one, right clicking on the V, making sure this one's in the front. All right. So yeah, you can move these around now however you like. I'm just trying to like make them staggered a little bit. All right, like that. And I'm gonna select all of them. I want them to be centered, so I'm just gonna try and center them as best as I can. All right. Okay. All right, so all I did was just center them up a little bit better. All right, now we're gonna select all these, all the letters. We're gonna drag and drop them over into Photoshop. So I'm just holding down and I'm not letting go until I get over to Photoshop. I'm sure there's other ways you can do this, but this is how I do it. I just drag and drop it. So, all right, we got it dragged and dropped into Photoshop. Now, let's create a black background, just so there's contrast. There we go. That's what our letters look like now. This is what you should have in this stage. So LOVE, and now we're gonna add color. So to add color, what we're gonna do is go up to Layer, New, Adjustment Layer, Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and then we're gonna click on Gradient Map. So hit OK. And now that's what, I have orange selected, but what I wanna do is I wanna select black, and then I wanna select like a dark red. Here, let's start with this red. So start with a red, and then for your middle one, you're gonna want a little bit of a darker red, and then for your left one, you're gonna want black. Okay. I'm gonna adjust these sliders till I like what I see. I might darken this up a little bit, this red color. Okay, there we go. See how we're creating shadow, creating some lighting. I'm actually gonna add one more color, as if there was like a light hitting it from the right top side. So I'm gonna add by clicking underneath the bar, it'll create a new color tab. So all the way on the right, I'm gonna take the red and I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. Make like a bright color. I'm gonna bring that in, start moving these down a little bit. Okay. All right. That looks good. All right. Add one more. See if this might be too much. I might back up, but it's just all trial and error here, so. Okay. All right. So here's what we got. I'm gonna take that white away because I don't really like that. Here we go. All right. So here's where we're at with our letters. Now I want to start adding some more lighting and texture. So what I usually do is we'll click on our love text layer. So in Photoshop, there's filter, go down to noise, add noise, and we're gonna bring this up until we like the way it looks. That's gonna give us a little bit of this grain looks. You don't want it to be too much, just a little bit so that it gives it some texture. I like that, about 7.16, that looks good for me. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to add a new layer above the text like this. Hit the plus sign, so now we have that. And we're gonna right click that layer and we're gonna go create clipping mask. So what I'm gonna do with this layer is I'm gonna add some shadowing. So I'm gonna select black, because imagine you turn this gradient map layer off, it's still black and white. So what I want to do is I want to add some black shadowing and shading. And so I'm gonna turn the gradient map back on, and with this layer selected above text that's clipping mask to the text, we're going to select a soft brush. It's in general. Got all these brushes. In general, there's going to be a soft round brush, and I'm going to bring the size up to let's say about here, 78. So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to bring my opacity down to about 30, and now I'm going to add, see, even that looks too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. I'm going to bring the opacity down even more to about, let's try 10. Yeah, that looks better. So let's start with 10, and then I'm just taking my brush and I'm going straight down, actually not straight down, at an angle, and I'm going to add some little flares around the edges, like so. Maybe mess with the opacity a little bit more, bring it to about 5. There we go. And then I'm just adding it wherever I think is best. Kind of along wherever there's like a point, looks good. So just adding a little bit of shading here, corner to corner, and then some shading in here. And one thing you can do to create a sharp lighting effect is I'm going to select this polygon lasso tool, and I'm going to click on this corner right here, and I'm going to click on this corner right here. You're going to cut out this top section. So make like a little shape. All that I care about is this line right here, and then I'm going to hit delete, and now it kind of looks like a little bit glossy, like a glassy gloss kind of lighting effect on there. I like that. I'm gonna do one more maybe on the E. So take my polygon lasso tool, corner to corner, and I'm gonna cut this part out. So now it looks like this. There we go. And I think that looks good. Maybe add a little bit more shading right here to my V, and maybe a little bit more on the bottom of my E. So there we go. That's what you should have so far. Yeah, so that looks good. I'm happy with that. Now let's add a little bit of texture. So I have textures that I get from unsplash.com. They're free. This is like a little paper texture I use. So open Photoshop, and then we're gonna take this texture, we're gonna go image, adjustment, black and white, saturation. So bring the saturation all the way down, hit image, adjustment, levels, and then we're going to mess with our lights and darks. So this left side is your darks, and this right side is your lights. I'm gonna boost the whites and bring the darks down. So if I zoom in, this is kind of what it looks like, really grainy. Again, I got this paper, I just typed in paper texture on unsplash.com, found one I liked, and then it doesn't matter what the paper texture looks like. You can grab this one, you can grab a different one. The point is that you're gonna make it black and white by desaturating it, adjust your levels. I'm gonna drag and drop it on top of all the layers. So make sure it's not on underneath any of these layers. You're gonna make sure it's on top of all the layers. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, Command T, zoom out a little bit more. I'm gonna bring the edges in so that it fits on top of my graphic. Hit enter. So now you're wondering where the graphic went. We're gonna go over here to blend mode. So make sure you selected the paper texture layer that's on top. And then where it says normal, you're gonna click on that and there's gonna be a drop down menu. And you're gonna hit multiply. And you can see if I turn that off, right there, what that's doing is giving it a little bit of a grain effect, which I like. And then a little trick here, behind the scenes here, is if you right click this layer, this paper texture, and hit duplicate, and then you're gonna hit Command T because we're gonna transform it, rotate it around one time, and then go up to image, adjustments, invert. So now we're gonna go to where it says multiply on that level layer, and we're gonna go to either lighten or screen. And I'm gonna go with screen this time. Sometimes I choose lighten, sometimes I choose screen. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring our opacity of that layer down, and you can just adjust it to your liking. But for me, I like a little bit of white grain. So what we just did is we duplicated that layer. We created some texture using, first we had this one, which is multiply, and that gives us like the black grainy look. And then on top, we're duplicating that layer and we're rotating it, and we're gonna switch that layer to screen and then mess with the opacity. So that one's adding white texture, and the one underneath is adding the black dot grain texture. All right, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got something out of it, and I can't wait to see what you come up with using these tools. As always, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and share your artwork with the world.